Good morning. Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. So, have you ever had a time in your life where you felt like, especially in healthcare, where you felt a spiritual connection with someone who may have been diagnosed with a disease process that you know may be fatal, and you're not understanding, and you kind of walk through that process with that person? Well, I have Miss Amanda Jones on here today, and we will walk through the process of us going through her journey and our journey, our spiritual journey. My name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of the Nurse Nurturer and VP Nursing, where our goal is to equip healthcare providers to be spiritually and physically fit, financially stable, able to lead with integrity, to decrease error at the bedside, but not only that, for you to live a full, empowered life. We will come to you every morning, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional every day. You can follow us on Twitter at Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. And if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now, before we get to our special guest, I want to let you know about our global virtual summit coming up on August the 7th, 2020. You will receive 6.5 contact hours and have an amazing time. So go to www.vpnursing.com to register for this epic event. Hi, Amanda.
Hey.
So Amanda is a dedicated wife of 20 years to her retired disabled sheriff deputy, hubby, and a proud mother of two beautiful young ladies, with her youngest still living at home. She is now the department manager in North Myrtle Beach, following a decade of experience working in the medical field as a paramedic in a model EMS agency, FEMA certified disaster medic, and a 1403 certified volunteer firefighter. She also accomplished her BS in marketing while working as a paramedic. Amanda is a powerful force in the workplace and uses her positive attitude and tireless energy and a strong moral compass as an utmost priority. Amanda's philosophy has always been to focus more on others' needs than herself, which in return is a blessing, and more importantly, to always be authentic no matter the job or the task at hand. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
For
so,
having me.
so I will start this story out on how we connected in the emergency department. So Amanda comes in one day, and she has lost all this weight. And us women, or even maybe men, want to know exactly how you've lost weight. I don't necessarily. Denise the other day was talking about it just takes consistency to lose weight. Well, sometimes you don't think that consistency is what you need. You just need a quick fix. And so she had lost weight, and I asked her. I said, Amanda, what are you doing to lose weight? Now you give me your answer.
So, like we were just talking about before, start off by saying I wasn't overweight. I was what they called EMS healthy. So I ate all my meals out of a fast food bag. I was in a truck for 24 hours. And like I said, I was definitely allergic to running like you did and working out. So um, it was like over a period of 3 or 4 weeks. I just had dropped about 25 pounds, and I was owning it. I felt good. I was like, hey, this is nice. But I knew that something inside, like my body was telling me something's not right. And being the typical healthcare provider, wasn't even considering going to a doctor because we don't do that. And that's just, we should, but we make bad patients more often than not. And but it was at the point to where my friends and of course my mother and all were concerned and telling me, well, you need to go see a doctor. That's not normal. And I was hearing those voices, but I wasn't. I was just really downplaying that. And then that day that I came and you've always been a strong voice in my life, and I listen to you and I look to you for advice, and I value what you say. And that day when I rolled in with a critical patient and given my typical report, the people in the room kind of stepped back to me and you were like, "Girl, how you losing that weight?" I was like, "I don't know. It just happened." She said, "That ain't right. So are you going to the doctor or am I taking you to the doctor?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am, I'll call today."
Yeah, I need for you to go ahead and make a doctor's appointment. Okay, let's do this. And then she showed up again, and I asked her. I said, "Well, did you ever go to the doctor?" And she was like, "Nope, I never went to the doctor." And I said, because unexplained weight loss, as we know in healthcare, I mean that's typically something that you are that's typically a very bad sign. So I knew
Yeah.
that it was probably a bad sign, but I just didn't know what it was. But I needed for her to help me find out because I cared about her, right? And I knew that we needed to figure it out. So finally went to the doctor, and then what happened from then?
So that was a whirlwind after that, which because I contributed being there, like you helped and guide me to there. I kept you in the loop very closely. I went to family my family doctor, and I was adopted, but the line of questions I was able to tell him what little I did know, and apparently in my maternal birth family, birth mother, there was a grandmother, an aunt, and uh, her mother all had a history of breast cancer. And it really just hit me in the face telling that to the doctor, like, wow, how have I never been concerned about this, And and so immediately he's like, well, we're taking care of this. And within a week, I had an appointment at Duke Cancer Women for Women, and then it was like on a Monday, and the next after that entire day of scans and MRIs, by that end of that day, the chief resident came in and she said, 80-20, it's cancer, and I'm being conservative. I had what they had found to be dozens of cysts in each breast, but one particularly looked very mean. And I just remember looking at those scans like, oh, they're everywhere, and that one. And they're like, this is the one that we're very concerned about. So, and I had lymph nodes that were swollen in my neck area, and I had noticed that. And I also had chin acne on my jawline, but it wasn't normal acne. And so I, of course, Googled that, and it was like signs of a unhealthy lymphatic system. So I had all these things that were unnormal and really pointing the way. And so, anyways, they came back and had me back the very next day for 7 biopsies, and said, we'll call you Friday, but I'm preparing you now. And what I remember and what I really focused on, or what was it was very characteristic of me, but you never know how you're going to react to this kind of information. And I think what you think is going to be, oh, I would just be devastated. You're really shocked at how you handle something in hindsight, but when given no other choice, you don't run, you handle it. And I remember her going over with me that day about treatments and being assigned to my own cancer team. And, it was just very official. And she's like, we're gonna start your treatments and all. And with no official diagnosis yet, it was just so prevalent that she believed that in her. And so I was like, well, we're just gonna do it because I don't have time for cancer. Like I'm in college, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I work 24 hours. We're gonna schedule it in. We'll get it done. And it was really like I treated cancer like it was just it would be a thing that we'll just pencil it in, get it out of the way because I got other things to do. And she's like, wow, that I wish all people responded that way. And I'm like, well, that's me because knowing me, that I'm busy and I ain't got time for this. So we went through that journey, and I went for a rescan. And by within a few days, she had called me back. And she said, "I have unbelievable news. In your rescan, that mean cyst is gone." But what I wanted to touch on,
But the journey before we get there, and of course,
yeah,
is
what happened in between.
you
I
call
don't know if you remember.
you called me and you were telling me that whole first part of it, and you said, you said all the things that you just said, and I said, were we going to pray? And so I literally went to praying, and we prayed and we prayed and we prayed, and there was a lot of tears back and forth. And I remember the day that you called me, I was in the pediatric department of the emergency department, and I was standing at the desk, and I needed to go out because there's such a covering, like you can barely hear anything in that space just because of the this lack of getting a signal out. And so I went to a space in which I could hear you, and a space where I could be private. And I got in that space, and when you came back and told me that you were negative, I was like, what? I was like, yes. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Like literally that was the last thing that I was thinking that I would hear from you. I mean, it was just, and like just tears just started streaming because I knew for a fact that it was cancer. I knew
Yeah.
for a fact that I just needed to hold on, and I needed to, pray every single solitary day. And I'm a firm believer that God healed you. I'm a firm believer.
Do you remember that Sunday in between, you invited me to go to church with you? And there was in that church service, and I don't know if you recall, but in that church service, the only people who knew what was going on that week was you, me, and my family. And
Uh-huh.
we went to the altar after service to pray together. And a woman came up to me, and she laid her hand on me, and she said, "I'm a cancer survivor, and so are you."
Oh wow.
And it was prophetic, and it really, that was part of knowing when you're in the right place at the right time, so God can deliver you a message. And I contributed all that to well, I give God all the glory for it, but I really contribute God lining you up for that, for the prayer, for the encouragement, for the invitation. And it's just, it's one of those things you look back on, you're like, wait a minute, did that all happen? Like, it didn't happen like that.
Because it was over several weeks or several months actually. And and I was just like, I can't believe that I have a friend who is, and that's what kind of brought us together, because we were really colleagues at that point, right?
Yeah.
But we never really, developed a really great
Shared personal things, I guess. Just,
relationship with each other until then.
I
And
knew there was a respect, but weren't very personal at that point.
but it's just amazing, because one of our principles in the company, or one of our pillars of success, is spiritual, and and praying and making sure that we connect God to everything. And when you're working in healthcare, what happens is you think the worst, right? You think the worst because you've seen the worst,
Yeah.
and for you to come out and to say, even today, it chokes me up. Even today, because I mean, I just can't imagine life without you, right? And so it is just it is just an amazing journey. I'm super glad that God healed you. I mean, I can't thank him enough. I can't thank
I
him.
know.
I can't thank him enough. So what?
Um,
So
yeah.
why do you think we connected so well spiritually?
Well, I just know that God sent you to me, and He knows my heart, and He knows that I have always struggled with finding true friends that were good for me, not just good to me. And He arranged our paths to cross, and I just didn't question when you told me what I needed to do, because I always felt like God placed you in my life, and and I knew that you were giving. You got me choked up, and I just knew that you were deeper connected to me than the superficial, and and that you should take when those things happen to you, when you come across those kind of people, you hold on to them and you don't take them for granted, and you don't question what God does. You let it happen, and I don't question God anymore. I've done that in my past, and it didn't work out well.
I know.
So it never does. but but I knew you were a blessing, and it always felt like by you blessing me, and when it was like I was blessing you, and to see that that worked twofold, and that I wasn't taking, but it was a giving also. It really it made a connection, and I feel like it's spiritual because God intended for that.
That's right. He intended for this relationship to be a long-term relationship as opposed to a very short-term relationship.
Absolutely, people are there for seasons, but then some are for a lifetime, and you
Right.
definitely want and impact and impact in your life, and we're staying.
Right. Reasons, seasons are and and Tyler Perry used to say it all the time. The problem is that we put lifetime expectation on seasonal folks, and
Yeah.
some people are just not there, and you really don't know the relationship as to whether they will be there for a lifetime. But the reality is that all you have to do is just wait and see. And for us, it literally has been. Even my husband is like, whenever we go and visit, he's like, "Have you called Amanda?"
Oh, I love Laura. And just our husbands having that connection with their employment, it just adds another layer. Like, of course, they get along and talk for hours. Why wouldn't they?
Exactly. So, now when you found out the possibilities, what the possibilities were, just why were you not discouraged? What was your determination? What kind of inner thing determined?
Well, first and foremost, I do give God, like I said, all the glory for that. Even the determination. I knew that, as with everything in our lives, God has a plan, and and it would be okay because I had, for the first time, accepted my fate, and didn't throw in a towel and say what's going to be terminal. At that time, I didn't know, and I had to accept either way, but I had to know that it was going to be okay, and I made peace with um, with the people who mattered, and I knew that I had a supporting and loving husband and family, and I had a prayer warrior by my side. And with a prayer warrior, and I have a prayer warrior for a mother too. And you just can't lose, even if it's not the desired outcome you think, it's the intended outcome, and that is God's plan. But I feel like He's always, and a lot of the other things that have happened even since in our lives. And I always feel like God has given me a little bit more to handle than I see others getting. Now, I'm not mad about it, but but I've learned over these years that it's because He also designed me to
Right.
be a strong woman, and it's there's dark days where you forget that, but overall, I know, like, I've seen worse since. I've had worse happen to our family since, and again, God be the glory, because I don't know how many prayers it takes to have them answered, but they're never answered exactly the way you pray them. But no matter what, they're answered in the way that God sees fit.
Right.
And I'm just a naturally determined woman. I mean, people who know me may call me stubborn and bullheaded, which could be true. But if you give up, no, no. But but like, when you give evil the power and importance that it's asking of you from your life, then it if you don't let that have power, then you're left with the positivity of determination, and you let the goodness of God prevail. And that's where determination comes from, when you don't allow the negative in, and you choose to let God run it. And He always does a better job than we do. So we have to always push forward.
That's right. He does an amazing job. And that, it's I think that what you said about he does not answer the call. He does not answer the prayer sometimes in the way in which you would like him to answer it. Because the reality is that when I prayed to him, I said, Lord, please heal Amanda, right? I just said, please heal Amanda. But the reality is that he did exceedingly abundantly, and that's my favorite scripture, Ephesians 3:20, exceedingly abundantly above more than I could ask or think. He did more than that. What he did was he just took it completely away, right? I thought, well, she's going to go through this. I was really praying about the therapy that you were going to receive. I was praying about everything as it relates to that. And the reality is that he was like, yeah, we're good. I don't want her to go through that.
And it's funny, a lot of my prayers were more based around everyone in my life being able to handle this. And just to provide peace for everyone, to let them cope and deal with whatever it may be. But I want to throw in there today also that today happens to be the 5-year anniversary of my husband's brain aneurysm, and today is the day that we celebrate him having had his life saved by God, and when everyone thought he would die,
Right.
times over. And this happened 6 months after my breast cancer scare. So it was truly a back to back event in my life where that this took backstage, because now we dealt with the healing and recovery of my husband, who today is disabled but able to drive. And with prayers being answered, speaking of that, I prayed while he was in the hospital for 66 days. And in the beginning, when it was much more intense, I prayed in the neuro ICU for God to just let his hand always be warm, and to know that I was there. And after 3 weeks, when he opened his eyes and they said, "Who is this by your side?" He said, "That's my baby." I knew right then I had gotten much more than what I had asked God for. And for him to be the vibrant person that he is today, and just it's a miracle. It's another miracle. So my point to saying that is, there will be dark days, there will be trials. You're guaranteed that. And it's all in how you choose to react, and by putting God first and not being angry with God, but saying, "What are you showing me in this?" And to be thankful for even the little smallest things. I feel like He gives you abundantly more, and it's just very important.
That's right. That's right. I love it. Do you know how many books there are in the Bible?
Third, no, uh, I
It's 66.
I was like 30 something in the one and 32 in the other.
It's
Oh, I hope my
66.
daddy don't see this, because I was supposed to know that answer.
So no, I didn't know it either. I didn't know it until I went to a retreat, and we had 66 women at the retreat for work.
Well,
And we went to the retreat, and it was symbolic of that. So I think it's symbolic of you praying for 66 days, you know.
yes.
And so
And
that's really sweet.
and on day 40, I felt I really every day I wrote a spiritual journey of Wayne. I started a group, and every day I wrote, every day I read through the Bible, and it wasn't always pretty. It was a lot of ugly crying and a lot of ugliness too. But on day 40, I felt like Noah. I had completely, 40 days and 40 nights. I had completely left society. I lived at Lake Med, and I was just unattached to anything else in the world. Nothing else mattered. And I knew after 40 days or something about that marker, if you've done something that long, you really start to retreat and see what God's showing you. But we're just thankful for that journey. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. Well, it has been such a pleasure. You will
I
always
didn't take the tears, but I should have known.
you will always, always, always be my dear friend. I love you with all my heart. Just remember, our goal is to come to you on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:30 a.m. to give you the full fuel to crush your goals, to show up exceptionally every day as healthcare providers, professionals. You can follow us on Twitter and at the Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget about our global summit. It is in less than 3 weeks. So go ahead and sign up because the seating is getting slim. So it's a global virtual summit. You get 6.5 contact hours and you will have an amazing time. I promise you. So go to www.V as in Victor, P as in Paul, nursing.com to register for this epic event. You guys have a great day. Thank you, Amanda, for showing up.